Hey, what's up everybody, this is Oscar1, and today I want to go over some more patch notes for Atlas. Now they added some new patch notes for the version 17, or whatever version is going to be, it's already changed. But the one that's slated for late February, there were also some small patch notes that are already in the game down here we're going to talk about as well. But these new ones were added because they have a new captain's logout, which is like their supposed to be weekly post talking about the game, talking about stuff they're doing or how they're going about making the game. I'm going to do a video on that as well because there's some pretty big information there, especially how they're going about going forward, them, I guess, updating and balancing the game. But there was some new content added with these, or with this patch, and this patch will be much bigger than what we see here. Late February, it's probably going to be like the 20th past in February, I would assume. So we still have quite a while for this, and most likely there's going to be a massive just string of balance changes with all the new stuff that we can see here. So first off, we have new feature daily missions for players with unique and powerful rewards. So I don't know exactly what this means. So unique rewards, maybe it's only stuff that comes from those daily quests or daily missions. I guess they're going to be quests, I would assume. Probably the same thing. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be, killing a certain amount of this creature, or killing an alpha of this creature, or killing like a certain color dam ship or something like that. Basic stuff. I would assume there's probably not going to be super intricate daily quests. At least early off. They could definitely do it later, but probably early on is going to be basic stuff. But I'm wondering what kind of rewards. So unique, it sounds like it could be something that you can only get from it. It could possibly just mean that, it's like different players get different rewards. And powerful rewards, I'm hoping it's not just like higher up blueprints. I'm hoping they actually give you powerful items. Like, I don't know, say a legendary pair of boots or a legendary weapon or something. Because if you haven't tried to go for these high tier blueprints yet, or try to make them, they're extremely hard to make and take a ridiculous amount of time to make for how easy it is to lose them. I mean, you could die like to an alpha and then not be able to get your body back and the server goes down or something. Something like that. You could die to a player and they could take it. For how easy it is to die with this stuff, especially the stuff you're carrying on your person, it's so hard to make just for how easy it is to lose. The building stuff and like making cannons and all that type of stuff, that's a bit more understandable because it's a solid object. No one can steal it. They can destroy it, but they can't steal it. So I'm hoping it's actually built items they give you. I mean, I'm sure they'll be adding skins and stuff like that into it. Maybe a specific set of resources. Maybe you'll get a box for completing a daily mission or something that gives you like a bunch of different types of a resource or something. They could do tons of stuff with it, but I'm hoping it's not just blueprints. New feature, 7 more main quests, which upon completion will provide their own unique skill unlock. So we have 2 main quests right now, which the Fountain of Youth is considered a main quest. Once you hit level 90, it'll pop up as a main quest to do. Now that doesn't give you I guess, a new skill. It gives you the stat buffs. I don't think it shows anywhere that it's a skill, but you do get stat buffs for that. And in this, which I think they actually, did they take it off? I think they might have taken off some of the stuff on here. I don't know if it's not going to be in this patch or if it's just not showing here right now, but the killing the Kraken will give you a skill that once you kill it, I think that I'm pretty sure that's added with the February patch. They had it before, so maybe it's later. But basically, the once you kill the Kraken, it gives you a skill that you can activate that makes wild or aggressive creatures not aggro to you for a certain amount of time. And then the new dungeon they're adding in this patch, which it doesn't show there either, so maybe that's later as well, that you get a skill that you can use to not use oxygen for a certain amount of time. So I'm assuming it's stuff like that, that's just different abilities to use or maybe increase to certain things. Basically just new skills, probably not to craft new stuff. I'd assume not to craft new stuff, but just activatables or stat increases, and that's pretty good. Hopefully these main quests are more, I mean, main quests are supposed to be bigger, but hopefully there's ones that are more just killing a boss or something like that. You know, maybe there's ones, go explore here and here and here, and then like get a treasure map here and get treasure here, and then that completes it, or something like that. Something that's more like adventurous instead of just, you know, collect these stones and then go kill a massive boss that's extremely hard. New structure guillotine, we talked about that before. New feature, curses tied to the execution of players. I'm wondering what this is. It doesn't give much information at all. Curses. So I'm wondering if this is you curse a player when you execute them, or if the player that executes you gets some type of curse. And I'm wondering how you get rid of this. Like maybe it's timed, or you have to do something to get rid of it. Not a lot of information here. I mean, they could do some cool stuff with this. Like, I don't know, when you get killed in a guillotine or something, maybe, I don't know, your stats are reduced. That's the only thing I could think of. I have no idea what this would actually be. I don't know, maybe it is for the people executing, and maybe like there's a curse that if you execute someone with like a guillotine or something, their curse is that they know where you are for a certain amount of time or something like that. Yeah, but they don't give much information here to really speculate. New crab, we already know about that. New vehicle, the submarine, we've talked about that before. New structure, bookshelf. Finally, store and sort your high quality maps and blueprints. So a few things about this. They have this in Arc. They've had this in Arc for a long time. Like, I don't think it was out in the beginning, but it was out really early on in early access to the game. So I don't know why they didn't have it. It seemed like a super easy thing to have. The cool thing about this is store and sort. So I'm wondering if you can sort by, I'm sure there's different sorting. So rarity, I don't know, maybe spoil time, since you can have maps and blueprints in it, which are super nice. You can have both in it, because maps and blueprints take up more storage than any other items you have, because you just have so many of them, and it's not like a tangible, usable item, really. So you're just keeping them everywhere. I'm also wondering if the bookshelf maybe is going to make maps last longer, because maps have like a over 3-day spoil time. I think they're 3 days, maybe a little over that. I'm wondering if you're going to be able to put in a bookshelf, or maybe if there's a higher tier version, that you can put maps in to make them spoil, and like have a longer spoil time. So if you have like a big map that's halfway across a world that you don't want to do right now, you can put it in there and be like, okay, next week we're going to like sail out with a bunch of people and go all across the world to get these really high quality maps. But very nice. I'm glad they're actually adding this bookshelf. It is sorely needed. We already talked about the deep ocean trenches. New feature, player shops and free ports. We already talked about that. New cosmetics. We already talked about that. They also showed that in the dev stream. The ships of the damned. I don't think they had the ships of the damned will not come in multiple size variations with different stats and difficulty levels. I don't think they actually had this on here and had this information with it. They did show us the actual models in the dev stream they had, so we knew about this. We knew about the size variations. The different stats, I don't know exactly what that means. If they just hit harder, maybe one has higher HP that's the same level as another one, but they have different HPs and different damage. Maybe different speeds. Maybe there's a super like squishy one that's super fast or something. I don't exactly know, besides just, you know, higher level equals higher HP and damage. In difficulty levels, I assume that's just side variations. There's going to be one that's half the size of the one we have now, the one we have right now, which is the mid tier, and then one that's like double the size of the one we have now. That's basically how they talked about them. All of these are the same except search members field added to company UI. I don't think they had this before, but it's sorely needed. So if you're in a big company, you can't search for member names, which sucks, especially if you need, I don't know, you need to give someone admin because they need to invite someone or they're at, or do something like that, which actually happens quite a bit. Unable to search players' names when you're looking through a list of like 100+ people, possibly up to 500 people, is sorely needed to be able to search for the names. So now we have stuff that's already in game. Resolved a save load issue with appended inventory engrams, a dev kit issue. Fixed water sprout inventories not appearing on PvE servers. Eliminated frequent server crashes. I actually haven't noticed a bunch of server crashes recently, but I would assume there was something happening with certain grids that were probably crashing them. So we already went over this, I'm pretty sure, so just more optimization. Then this is the big one. Alpha creature damage has been reduced by 50%. Alpha creature resistance has been reduced by 50%. And alpha creatures are now 25% less common. The 25% less common kind of sucks because I don't know how you're supposed to level creatures. Like, they keep kind of nerfing indirectly the ability to level your tames up, because it is super hard unless you're on your tames 24/7. It's not easy to level them up, and with nerfing alpha creatures, you would think you wouldn't need to nerf how common they are, especially by 25%. Now they reduce the damage and basically their toughness by 50%. Now I don't think a bunch of stuff needed this. I don't know why they haven't started yet doing specific balance changes to specific things. So, like, boars didn't need these reductions. Rabbits didn't. The birds, so, like, not parrots, but, like, seagulls and crows and stuff didn't need those because they were pretty weak even though they can fly around. Stuff like that didn't really need that. Like, lions, tigers, and wolves probably need that. Wolves probably less so now. But all the super fast ones, cows probably needed because I don't know why cows were so strong. Bulls might have needed. Giant snakes definitely needed a damage reduction. But I don't know why they did it overall instead of targeting specific alphas. Because if they targeted specific alphas, they could do bigger reductions if needed to, say, you know, tigers or lions, which probably could use more than this. Probably slightly more than this, to be honest. And then, like, the easier alphas, they could just leave the same or buff if needed, because, like, some of the alphas are super, super weak and easy to kill with most things, but then you have some of the alphas that destroy everything. So I don't know why they don't specifically do it, but overall it's a pretty good change. Nobody likes having, like, some super high level tame that they tamed to max level, leveled up like 50 times into full health and damage and just get destroyed by some random alpha lion or something. So it's a good change overall. So that's pretty much a patch notes. There's something I wanted to talk about with how they're doing these small patches, and they've been splitting them up. So it seems like they've been doing, I don't know if this is a test, which they could still do this better while being able to still test correctly with the overall player base, is they seem to be splitting up patches and doing one thing that makes the players hate it, and then, like, a week later or a few days later, doing the thing that should have initially been done with that, but doing it a few days later, so it's like players are pissed off for a few days, which just makes a lot of people leave the game and makes a lot of people frustrated for however long they don't do the other change that brings stuff back in the line. So specifically, they just had nerfed tames, I think, like a week before this. Then they nerfed the elephant's weight reduction that has on wood. So it felt like all the animals were completely useless again, and there was no utility in any of them. None of the animals could carry anything. Then a few days later, or maybe a week later, they did the patch where they completely rebalanced all the weight for the animals, massively increased the weights of all animals, which made elephants probably better than they were before. But they didn't say that at any point, so, like, every Reddit post was about elephant weight being ruined, no utility animals anymore. Instead of, they could have just either been like, we're changing this right now because we're completely redoing all the weight and it'll be an increase, or they could have just done it at the same time to make a bigger patch with the stuff being changed correctly, so players aren't freaking out about a massive nerf to something they've already spent time getting into because of how it was before, and keeping it like that for a week, which is also what I've read from the captain's log. They're kind of doing that with Stone too, even though Stone should still probably be reverted, but they're saying now that they put it they like nerfed, or I guess buffed, the cost requirement way too high, so that'll be reduced down. And then they're making sap much easier to get in different parts of the game. So instead of doing it in one chunk, they have a bunch of people get pissed off for a couple weeks or a week or something. So I think they need to start doing patches. They need to start, you know, putting patches in a bigger clump with changes being more group up together. So, you know, it doesn't feel like you're getting a massive nerf one week, a buff next week, just to have something else next week, something new next week get nerfed, and then rebuffed up again because they're balancing everything like separately, even though it should be grouped up, if you get what I'm saying. But anyway, subscribe if you want to see more Atlas content. I'll be doing a video on that Captain's Log pretty soon and some ship builds. So like the video if you like it. Leave a comment down below what you think about Atlas, what you think about the changes, what you think about what we've seen so far from the new big update in February, and thanks for watching.